So in Hotshot 4, we're keeping the same enormous cool details of the map, 15,000 provinces and all that cool, all the deep, even more complex rules than before, but it's far more easy to play. Don, do you want to explain why it's easier to play?
All right, so this mic should be working better. So we focus a lot of our energy on kind of scaling the amount of information that gets presented to you. And first of all, as you're looking from this far up distance, you'll see that we're showing all the country colors. And as you zoom in, you kind of start seeing more of the terrain. And terrain, of course, is super important in the game where you're going to make tactical decisions about movements. And like, you know, you don't want to accidentally put all your panzers in a forest, for example. And so that way, we kind of get both the political classic map mode as well as the terrain map mode in the same one.
Yeah, and as some people may have noticed on the screenshot we provided earlier, that it looks like, oh, it's a few provinces, but if you look into detail, it's actually a huge state, and it's divided into a lot of small different provinces. Provinces are used for where the units are moving, and the entire state is where you build factories, anti-aircraft guns, etc. This creates a far less micromanagement. So do we have less micromanagement when it comes to warfare?
Well, yeah, there's going to be a lot less tedious micromanagement, but that will actually give you more time to make more interesting and valuable choices instead. So yeah, so we focus a lot of stuff on like planning type features where it makes it easier to do lots of movements at the same time without actually losing a lot of precision, and also kind of giving you more direct control over the AI rather than sort of setting a goal and hoping that's what the AI is going to do for you.
Shall we try to invade Poland? It's something that tends to work.
Yeah, I think that might be a great idea. So we'll start by selecting a bunch of troops here. And I think we'll need those guys as well. And so the way this works is, to make a plan, I got to set this up with a leader. And we colorize armies here. You can see this little red tag. That means these guys are collected into one army, and von Rundstedt here is going to lead it. So let's set up, start off with a defensive plan here, for safeguarding against future Polish, aggressions. So when I start unpausing this game, our soldiers are going to start getting ready and kind of move in for. Well, yeah, that's something that's new as well. You can see the time of day here is moving, and that's going to definitely be something you kind of have to keep an eye out on. Before it was all in the minimap, but now you can actually sort of see it directly on the map where you need to make the decisions, like, should I wait until dawn to attack, or attack at, middle of night where people might not be prepared. So, looks like our guys are ready here on the border, and looks like the Poles haven't really reacted to this yet. So, now this is just a defensive plan, but if we actually want to go and take Warsaw, let's pull in some actual angles of attack in here. And I'll do one from top.
Shouldn't we do an attack from Ostpreußen as well?
Yeah, we can assign these guys here to a separate group. And there's not very many, so von Kluge can... All right, let's do Rommel. And let's give them a simple defense order for now. And I think for later, we'll do kind of a pincer attack from the back as well. So, back to von Rundstedt here, and I have to actually assign how many I want to be on these arrows, because I want to have a lot more troops heading down the center. So all I have to do is select them and kind of distribute them along. So I think maybe these guys are going to have to push at the top as well. All right, so the plan is basically set. So if we want to execute this, we need to first declare war on Poland. Actually.
Hold on, we all know that fighting a war without air superiority is not a good idea. So shouldn't we put up some air coverage over Poland first?
That's a great idea, and let's do that. So this is a completely new feature as well, and this is showing the strategic air map mode. Each of these zones is an area where you can assign aircraft. Currently, the Poles have not put up any air defense at all because they don't really suspect my plan. So these are both colored green for me. And I'll open this, and you see that there's not a lot of Poles going on here at all. These are all my air bases sorted by range. So I'll go to Brandenburg, and let's pull up some classic 109s here, fighters. I'm going to assign them to air superiority. And also pull up a couple of bombers here. So once we'll set them to do some strategic bombing here as well. So once we start declaring war, it should be.
Stop preparing, start the war. So diplomacy screen, not 100% finished, but we can still declare war, I hope. Yeah, so there's a picture of the Polish leader. And we have a war.
The war is on, and you can see the capital is now colored red because it's an enemy capital, and that's the point we want to take to win this war. So, back to our leaders here. Now it's time to actually execute this plan. So all I have to do is, some of the fighters are starting off here, and this is a big simulation. And we'll get back to showing a bit of the air war later. So let's get the plan going. All I have to do is hit execute, and this whole army is going to start moving when I tell them to. And it gets colored red because of the army things. You can keep track of exactly where everybody is. So let's go. And in the middle of night here. So they seem to be making pretty good progress in here. I think I'll slow down a little bit, and I'll tell Rommel to come in from the top as well. And there we go. And now they're all pushing in, and we can have a look at some of the air war stuff. So it looks like we're winning the air war as well. Oh no, there's more Polish fighters now, but ours are more modern, so it should be okay.
So, but we're taking some losses in the war. Shouldn't we build some more tanks, do you think?
Yeah, we can do that. So in Hardstofaren 4, we kind of done a complete rethink on how to manage your industrial capacities and stuff. So we have a new concept called production lines that that is basically a collection of factories and is set up to build a specific type of equipment. In this case, Glorious Panzer I, because we did a bit of an early invasion of Poland, so we don't have a lot of better stuff.
Yeah, as you notice here, if you put all your factories onto it, you can currently produce 3 Panzer Is. A full division has exactly how many light tanks like that?
Oh, I think about 200 or so yeah. So what you guys are seeing here is that this is a completely new production line, and what's shown here is efficiency, and this is a really important concept. So the longer you produce something, the more efficient it gets. And what that means is that if you keep this running for a year, it's going to absolutely mass-produce Panzer I, but in a year, fighting a war, are you actually still going to want Panzer Is? And that's kind of the big problem facing the player here, because if they're going to replace it with a more fancier tank, like, say, a Panzer II, Panzer III, you're going to have to kind of get rid of this efficiency when you swap it out. There's ways we can go in between by kind of making variants as well. But effectively, the choice is go with the newest stuff or mass produce.
Yeah, so how do we get better Panzers? I think we have a pretty cool, awesome technology system.
Yeah, so let's have a little look at that. So there's a few ones. So this is the doctrine tree. And this is basically, your top-level army organization. They're all designed around historical nations. So you got like classic kind of German mobile warfare tree, focusing on mechanized kind of blitzkrieg, fast movements, taking advantage of enemy weaknesses.
Yeah, but let's face it, tactics doesn't win war. Big battleships win wars.
Okay, they might do that if you may be America and you don't build carriers. So here's a bunch of our our ships. This isn't quite ready yet. I mean, we're still in alpha, but you see a bunch of our classes here, and so carriers, submarines, and everything. And should we have a look at airplanes as well? So this is showing a bit of the air tree, and we're still missing some art here. So I think our artist is probably noticing this right now in Stockholm here. And so all of the majors are going to have trees like this, where you'll see familiar airplanes and that you can research.
So this is where we confirmed that we're going to do a Romanian flight technology tree DLC or Costa Rican.
I don't know about Costa Rica, but Romania, yeah.
What, he hates Costa Rica. I blame Italian 1990.
Yeah, Italian planes are awesome.
Okay, so let's build a ship then.
All right. So ship production is very similar to other assembly line production. The difference is, of course, you might not want to make infinite number of heavy cruisers. Well, you probably do want to make infinite number of heavy cruisers. You probably just can't afford it. So the difference here is you can assign a little bit. So say how many you want to do. And you can assign industry to this in the same way as you can for the tanks. It's using a different type of industry, which is called dockyards. So it's a naval structure. You need to have some coastline to do that.
But what do you use mana for, though?
What did I use what for?
The mana.
The mana, yes. This game, of course, features Führer mana according to 4chan. So you use that to create different variants. Now, we call this field experience. And what it basically is a simulation of what happens in a real war. Is that, you know, lab guys come up with a fancy new tank or a fancy new ship design. And once you actually start using it, turns out that, you know, there might actually be some problems with this. Like Hitler rolling into Austria and basically all of his panzers breaking down. So the simulation of this is that you get reports in for this, and it clocks up field experience for you. And that's something you can use to modify ships you have. So for example, I could take this heavy cruiser and use some of the experience I don't actually have yet, but to give you an idea, and sort of just increase a couple of stats, and let's call this Glorious Sweden class. Yeah. So yeah. So now I've made a completely new cruiser type based on experience through the war. And I can name it myself, and you can do the same thing with tanks, so you can have all your 2011 version of the Panzer IV should you so desire.
This is kind of awesome. Everyone wants to customize their own ships. The bigger the guns, the bigger the navy, and the more chance you win the war. So we have a few more things that are interesting. We have politics.
Yeah, all right, so let's have a look at politics here. So here we go. You'll recognize some things here from Hearts of Iron 3. So this is your party popularities. And of course, you know, this is a dictatorship at this point, but it's showing, you know, the population support for, you know, for nefarious purposes. Yeah, and we have a bunch of goals you can select here, which is a new feature called national goals. And it's a little bit like missions mixed with decisions, I guess. And they're there to kind of guide you through history a bit and also kind of give you new angles. So what they do is kind of boost your military power when you manage to fulfill one of these. And basically it's showing that, you know, Hitler's actually right. So if he's going to do remilitarizing the Rhineland there, for example, it's a way of showing that France and Britain aren't really the superpowers they used to be if they don't kind of try and stop you. And that will increase your political power, and you can use political power for all sorts of interesting stuff, like keeping a lot of different ministers going at the same time, even though they might not be convinced party people. You know, you're kind of shown that you're a capable leader.
Yeah, this is about what we have in features to show you guys now. The game is reaching alpha early this autumn.